Okay, welcome back. So this is going to be a bit different to some of the videos we've done before. So this is actually the first time anything like this has happened since the channel really started. And essentially we're going to be looking at these changes that 343 wanted to make to the HCS and to ranked play. Obviously there's going to be a little bit to talk about here. Obviously a lot of these takes are sort of it's me sort of replying without looking at Reddit, without looking at Twitter. Hopefully not too out of touch. Hoping that my views are shared with other people. And obviously, you know, if you disagree or if you have a slightly different take, then I would definitely encourage you to post it in the comments. Always happy to have some discussion. You know, one point of view isn't always the right point of view, and obviously there's might be parts that you've considered that I've not considered. So if you enjoy stuff like this, check out the other VODs on the channel to do with different ranks as well, and don't forget to subscribe and touch the notification bell so you'll know just when stuff comes out. So where are we starting off here? Well, there has actually been some changes to the HCS lineup for next year, and we've obviously had a few maps added to the game since since HCS started. And I think the HCS and ranked sort of suffer from this same thing, and I'm sure a lot of you agree, whereas there's just not enough maps in the game, and they're even taking maps away and then giving us one map back. So like streets being Bazaar being taken away, for example, and then we get like detachment or something like that. So they're adding Argyle and Imperium to the capture the flag list, and I think this is a good move. But obviously, if those maps need some tuning changes, which they've tried to address later on, and I'll go a bit more into those later, because I think the way that those maps flow is at the moment not ideal because of the way the weapons are set out. We've got Imperium being added to Slayer. That's fine. I feel like the pit was great on Halo 3 for Slayer, so no change, no problem there. King of the Hill staying as it is, Stronghold staying as it is, and Oddball staying as it is. And so this kind of leads us to the balance updates that I was talking about there, and these are live as of the upload of this video, essentially. There are some other updates that are going to be going out, but not until the start of Season 3, so all these ones are out right now. So on Argyle, they've got rid of the Bulldog. I think this is a really good change. I absolutely hated when Argyle just became full degenerate with the Bulldog, and it was just holding corners, and because there's two on the map, essentially if you allowed the other team to get both of those Bulldogs at the same time, which I suppose if you let them do that, you kind of deserve it. But if one team got both Bulldogs, they essentially just ran the whole map. And then if you had their sniper on the back of their base, you just weren't having a good time. So the Bulldog being gone from Argyle, awesome change, love it. I think that's definitely focused on ranked. And then the Commando being taken out, so it becomes a BR75. I think this is to address some of the issues that the pro players are having with the new Commando just being, well, what a lot of them have said is basically busted, because they originally buffed the Commando for not casual play, but for like ranked play, because some players were having trouble with the sort of the auto aim and bullet magnetism on that gun, and then it got buffed up, and now it's kind of strong. If you've seen any of the pro players in like the recent 1v1s and tournaments and stuff using it where they've not GA'd it, it's very strong. So they've taken that away. And then I'm kind of on the fence about the fusion coils thing, because it's like a super meme, but it's also like ridiculously annoying when you get killed by a fusion coil. So okay, fusion coils going out is a good thing. Fun police are here, but essentially when we're in ranked, we kind of need that balance, and fusion coils sort of disturb it a little bit, so them going is a good thing. Imperium fusion coils gone. Scrap cannon being removed. I mean, the scrap cannon's not a competitive weapon. It shouldn't be there, but does it really cause an issue? I don't know. It's funny to get some kills with it, but it's not really a competitive weapon. Interesting change here, and I'm sure a lot of people agree. Like Shyway's done a video on it, Above Irish Cody's talked about it, some other people have talked about it too. Why are the rockets not getting changed 343? Why is 4 rockets on this one map okay? Because it's not. 4 rockets on this map is just insanity. You can just snowball the entire match. You know, people don't really even go for overshield at the start anymore in some of the games because rockets is just too strong. It's usually someone flanking training, someone flanking long haul, and then one person going rockets while someone's on the sniper. I just feel like rockets should just be 2. 4 is way too many. And also, you know, Imperium has a lot of problems with how many weapons are there on that map anyway. And I think that even the sniper should have had some ammo reduction. Although we are going to touch on that in a moment, because there have been some changes to the way that ammo spawns work, which will kind of address that, sort of, but not for sniper rifles and things. And these things have not quite been changed yet, but they're going to be changed. And this is going to take place in mid-Feb. So the ammo rack update means now that the plasma pistols, the manglers, where they've been left, and other things are not going to respawn until they're used. Now, this leads to two situations. You now hold that weapon, so the enemy team cannot get it anymore. So suddenly the plasma pistol is now a weapon you are holding, so you can grab overshield, and it ain't going to respawn. That's interesting. And also with weapons like, let's have a look, what are things like sidekick or anything like that, they ain't going to respawn until you drop it and it despawns. So this is going to make ammo more scarce. It's also going to, I think, move some of the gameplay back to the BR and away from some of the issues that people have. I think in combination with some of the other changes that 343 are making, this isn't a bad thing, but I think it's a little knee-jerk. But I also think it's probably the right thing to do as well, because we're at the point with Halo Infinite where so many people have been so mad about so many different things that if they just tried to do a tuning pass midway and then it went out into HCS and ranked, they would literally be like chaos. So I think in removing some of these things just before Charlotte is probably a good idea. So again, we've got the ammo change, we've got the frag change, frag decrease. Well, how much? That's not very useful. We've already seen frag grenades be nerfed once already, from the 0.2 explosion from ricochet to 0.4, which was, I think it was needed. I feel like Halo Infinite was a bit too grenade heavy. But how much have they nerfed that damage radius? That's going to take some testing when that comes out, so that's an interesting one. And the drop weapon mechanic, I actually thought this one was already in. So I thought the drop weapon mechanic was already the same as the switch weapon mechanic. For those of you that are not aware, I suppose currently, you can sort of plasma pistol someone, and it's actually faster to drop the plasma pistol and then headshot someone than it is to just press Y. I think there's some other cheese that I'm sort of forgetting with this because I'm doing this unscripted, but I feel like this change is sort of like, well, I mean, like, how much of a skill ceiling is pressing the down button? I don't know how I feel about that one. I sort of get it, but it's sort of like, I mean, really? Next one's a really good one. Reduction in random angle error for no-scoping. No-scoping is complete skill. It is very hard to no-scope in Halo on a controller. It's not the same on mouse and keyboard at all, but on controller it's very hard. I have respect for people when I get annihilated by a really good no-scope, and I think 343 reducing the error on no-scopes, especially with the S7, is a good move. Because it's going to allow for them more explosive plays. It's going to make HCS more fun to watch, and you're less likely to just feel BS'd when you try and hit a really good shot and then you miss someone's helmet by like a pixel because of the random error. So that is a good one. I'm happy with that. Putstep audio being changed for season 3, so this is even further down the line. The footsteps can be a little loud at distance sometimes, so you can almost tell where someone is like from quite far away. I feel like changing it to be louder closer is good because it sort of makes crouching a bit relevant now. Yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on that one. I think making crouching a bit more relevant and decreasing the footstep sound from far away is a good move because it means you can be more strategic in your movement without like feeling like the guy at the other side of the map's going to hear you, so that's fine. Mangler's been vaulted. I love the Mangler because I know how bad it is. I think this is a good move for season 3. The sword got the tune in with the melee trade, so again, for those of you that don't know, the sword currently, if you melee someone who's one shot, you will trade. That wasn't the case before. This has also been removed. I'm kind of sad because I just like the flashiness of the sword. It's like a Halo staple, but at the same time, it's very hard to balance that weapon in the current sandbox because we literally have no, like, the original OG shotgun is gone, which was the counter to the sword. So unless you've got a sniper, you can't really one-shot people that try to sword you, so there's no real direct counter to it other than like a repulsor or something, and if the guy's got a grapple, you're just dead. And I think this change to the commando as well is good. I think they did push the needle a little too far, especially with pro players just absolutely mincing people with it. I think that's a good change too. So the commando change is good. The Mangler, the sword being out, that's good. Spike grenades need to be less random. I can't remember the clip, but there was some ridiculous clip of a pro player just getting absolutely nailed from really far away by a spike grenade, and it was just complete BS because of the random spread on the grenade. And then I think I've seen another video, I can't remember it, where someone was throwing spike grenades in the same place, and then sometimes it would kill the enemy and sometimes it wouldn't. So I feel like that being patched out so that the grenades are more constant, I think that's a really good move for 343. Good. Less randomness, more strategy. Always a good thing. The Disruptor is a weird one because I might be using it wrong. I've kind of said bad stuff about it in other videos. I sort of changed my mind a little with the Disruptor. I think it's all right. I think it's very middle of the pack. I don't really find any issues with the Disruptor. So if you disagree with that, post in the comments and let me know. Maybe I'm missing something there. But I don't see how increasing Disruptor's clip size by 1 then suddenly makes it overpowered. I'm really confused about that one. Pulse Carbine, it tracks fairly well. Again, vaulting it I think is just so they can rebalance it in combination with other stuff. I personally felt a Plasma Pistol needed vaulting more than the Carbine did. But they're making changes, which is good. You know, the competitive game mode needs some changes. Plasma Pistol, slight return, retuning to reduced effectiveness. That is definitely going to be the aggressiveness of how it homes. The homing on this weapon at long range is ridiculous. It practically curves around corners. Countering the Plasma Pistol itself is not too hard. You can repulse the projectile for those of you that don't know. And a good wall will, keep it out of the way. But its tracking is very, very, very aggressive, and it is an issue sometimes. It's almost sort of makes overshield like pointless. But with the changes, which we'll go over like an overview in a moment, and my thoughts, maybe it won't. And then finally, we've got this ammo reduction. So for competitive, we're reducing the ammo of the Heatwave, the Stalker Rifle, the CQS 48 Bulldog, and the Shock Rifle. I think reducing the ammo on all these weapons is good. I am not a purist. I think that Halo should have other weapons in the game to be fun to watch. Remember, because esports live and die by the amount of people who watch them, more or less. And obviously, it would be nice to have a perfectly balanced Halo game where we have no issues and everyone can use a BR and we can have standoffs. However, from a viewer standpoint, I do not think that would be as interesting to watch. And I'm a very diehard Halo fan. I like the flashy plays with the shock rifle, no scope headshots. I like the cheeky bulldog clips. I like the Heatwave perfect 2 shots. I think they're fun. So I think reducing the ammo for these guns is a good move because sometimes they're just a little too oppressive, especially the Stalker Rifle on mouse and keyboard, which is just absolutely insane right now. You can just 3-shot people all day. So I think changing the ammo is good, and I also think this might be in preparation for the Bandit Rifle, which some people have spoken about. So I'm going to do a follow-up video about the Bandit Rifle and how there's been some talk about Bandit Rifle versus BR starts. The Bandit Rifle is the spiritual successor to the DMR, the primary weapon that was in Halo Reach, for anyone that's not aware. So where does this leave us overall in terms of the metagame here, in my opinion? So what I think this means is we're stepping away from as many weapons being on the map at the same time, which is definitely a good thing. Because if you look at maps like Imperium right now, there's just way too much stuff on the map at the same time. Way too much. And it's causing issues with snowballing and things. I think that halving the ammo of weapons also makes them better. Makes the situation better because, like, even on recharge, the amount of ammo you get for the shock rifle is too much. You can get multiple kills with that thing, and you can just absolutely rail people for quite a while for how fast it respawns. I think that is a good move. I also think that holding non-power weapon, non-timed power weapons to prevent them from respawning is a good move as well. For those of you that remember from the Halo 3 days, you could abuse weapon spawn times based on despawn. So like the pit with the sniper rifles is a really famous one where you can manipulate the spawn time of untimed weapons so your enemy team doesn't know when it's respawning. I think being able to do that with things that aren't timed is going to make the game more interesting. Because it's going to make the game more dynamic. Because I think it's important in Halo Infinite that 343 keep weapons relevant, but I think they have to be careful in how they tune them so they're not overbearing. So having timed manglers when it comes back, having, you know, maybe a half energy sword, that would be okay. Half as many kills. Maybe reducing the ammo in the Stalker Rifle, because you get so much ammo in that thing. And the Bulldog's ammo at the minute is just ridiculous. You just get so many. If you hit every shot with that weapon right now, you get so many kills with it. So I think these changes overall are good for the game. I think 343 are trying to make a non-knee-jerk and calculated change to HCS and to ranked in preparation for the new season to 1, reduce negativity, and 2, show that they're committed to making the game more balanced, and 3, they're trying to slow the game down in a way where team shotting and being less of a headless chicken is more important. Because at the moment, you can pretty much just run around with a mangler and 3-shot people across the map. And then it respawns again when you die, so you just pick it up again. My only concern with this is the following. Weapons despawn too fast. There have been times where I've died, dropped a weapon, gone back to my death straight after a respawn and it's gone, and it hasn't been picked up. I think also that we're at the risk here of making the sandbox almost too small, but I think a way they could get around that is they could add these weapons where it's a different thing on each map. So we don't need sniper on every map. We don't need the shock rifle on every map. We don't need the disruptor on every map. Every map can have its own character. And I think that would make the viewing experience, again, much more fun. I think definitely from a map standpoint, Imperium still needs changes. I think Argyle, I'm not a fan of it personally. I think it still needs a few more changes to the rat runs and things you can do in it. But the shotguns going is a good start. I would have liked to see some changes to detachment. I have very mixed feelings on it. I think detachment is a fun map, but I'm not sure if I feel like it's a competitive map. And I would have liked to see Bazaar getting added back in. I can't remember what the issues people had with Bazaar. I'm glad Behemoth's not back. Behemoth was awful for the spawns, but Bazaar, I'm not too sure. I would have liked to see that come back. So that's the rank changes that are coming in from 343. Some of these are live now, not all of them. You can check out the article. I've put it in the description below. And I just hope you like my little take on this. And maybe, as I said, you've thought of some things that I haven't thought of. So where that's the case, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'll reply. I do read and try to reply to every single comment that I get, because I value the opinion of all the viewers that I have, which has expanded a lot in the last month or so. So thank you very much for listening. If you got this far, good luck in the ranked grind. I'm still trying to get to Onyx. I'm very, very close. I am Diamond 6 right now. Hopefully Onyx by the end of the week. And we'll have more VOD content coming soon. Some interesting live coaching coming soon. As well as some more tips videos and some more jumps as promised. So stay tuned. Hopefully you're all doing well. And I'll see you in the ranked queue. So this has been Vanadam. See you in the next one.